19mm socket, we're going to go ahead and remove our lug nuts. Grab your wheel, remove it, set it aside. Using our trim tool, we're going to go ahead and remove the plastic buttons holding our under-engine splash shield in place. There's one there. One under the edge right here. On the bottom side, underneath the lip of the bumper, I'm going to go ahead and pop our trim buttons here. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process for the rest of these buttons. I want to go ahead and pop this out so we can get a better look at it. Right here is our drain valve for our radiator. We want to go ahead and drain the coolant out of the radiator. We're going to go ahead and slide a catch can underneath. The coolant should run right through this section right here and into our can. At this point here, let's go ahead and close up the drain on the radiator. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use our 10mm angle wrench here, and we're going to loosen the 3 nuts on our water pump pulley. We're not going to remove it, we just want to break them free at this point. So just a couple quick snaps of the wrench there, and we're just going to get those loose. Now right here we have our serpentine belt tensioner on our pulley. I'm going to go ahead and put a 14mm wrench on this here. I'm going to go ahead and pull this and release the tension on our belt. Once we have tension off of that, go ahead and pull our belt. Work that off. Once the belt is off, we can release the tensioner and remove our wrench. Now before we remove our belt from all of our pulleys, we want to go ahead and document the path here. It's just going to make it easier for our installation. I'm going to use our 10mm here with our swivel and extension. Using a 14mm socket, we're going to remove this lower bolt on the power steering pump and then the one on the other side of the pump. I want to go ahead and put that aside. Grab our power steering reservoir, wiggle it straight up and out of its retainer, and grab our pump and reservoir. Just kind of slide this aside for now. I want to go ahead and remove our tensioner using a 12mm socket. Let's go ahead and remove this nut. Use a 12mm shallow socket to go ahead and remove our center tensioner bolt. Go ahead and work that bolt out. Go ahead and grab your tensioner and pull that up and out. Now you want to reach down and grab the pulley off of the water pump. Go ahead and work that up and off. Go ahead and set that aside. On the bottom side of our water pump, there are 3 visible bolts. There are 3 more along the top. We're going to start from the bottom first, removing these 3. Now when doing this job here, you want to make sure that you have a catch can underneath. Any residual coolant in the engine behind the water pump will come out and it will make a mess. The reason why we're removing the 3 first on the bottom is that once we remove the upper 3, we don't want to have coolant splashing down on us. We're going to be above the vehicle, and that way this can drain out right into the catch can. Pull these 3 out. Go ahead and remove that water pump. I'm going to go ahead and use a towel. I'm going to go ahead and wipe down where the water pump was seated to. I want to make sure that this is clean and there's no residual buildup or anything like that on this surface here. So when we put on our new water pump and gasket, it mates to it clean Made to a nice clean surface. Now I went ahead and used some solvent on the face here of the aluminum. You don't want to use any type of metal components or anything like that because you don't want to mar up the surface of the aluminum. Everything looks clean. We're ready for installation. And go ahead and take our new gasket and line this up and press this into place and just work your way around. The water pump has little tabs on here that'll actually grab onto that gasket and hold it in place during assembly. That's it. Go ahead and lower our water pump down into place. Go ahead and fit that on. And we're just going to get the upper bolt started. Once it's started a few threads, that'll hold it in place for us. Let's go ahead and get the other bolts installed and threaded in. Now we're going to go ahead and torque these down to 8.7 foot-pounds. Go ahead and repeat for the other 5 bolts. All right, we're going to go ahead and install our water pump pulley. Now you want to feed this down at an angle. Push that down and over the flange. Slide onto the hub of the water pump like so. Now you want to go ahead and line up your water pump pulley. Go ahead and line that up with the threaded holes. I'm going to go ahead and get one of those bolts started here. I'll thread that on as far as I can and just rotate that and get the other 2 in. Insert a screwdriver through the water pump pulley and flange. I'm going to go ahead and torque down the 3 nuts to 10 foot-pounds. That screwdriver will lock that pulley in place and keep it from rotating, so you can go ahead and torque that. Repeat for the other 2. We're just going to go ahead and feed our belt up and in. I'm going to wrap it around our crankshaft. Feed the bottom portion around our AC compressor. As long as it's in the general area, you can go ahead and finish wrapping it up top. So lower your tensioner down into place. Slide that over that stud. Let's go ahead and get our center bolt installed. We'll go ahead and install our nut on the stud here. Let's go ahead and tighten down that center bolt. And we'll snug down that nut. Let's go ahead and torque these bolts down to 16 foot-pounds. Let's go ahead and bring our power steering pump and reservoir back into position here. I'm going to install our 2 bolts. All right, let's go ahead and tighten those down. These bolts here, just want to make sure that these are good and snug. Once you feel them bottom out, just give it that tiny bit more. Let's go ahead and get our reservoir pop back into position here. Let's get our belt routed. It'll take you a few minutes to get this routed around to everything that needs to get run through. I'm going to go ahead and use our 14mm wrench. And just continue all the way around your liner until we get that all buttoned up. Install our splash shield here. Work our way to the top here. Let's go ahead and tuck this behind. Let's go ahead and install our clip back here. And then we'll push that button in. Let's go ahead and open up your radiator. You want to go ahead and use your clean funnel. I'm going to put our adapter on this here. I'm going to go ahead and add coolant. Now at this point, we're going to go ahead and start up the vehicle. You want to let it run for about 20 to 25 minutes. And what's going to happen is the thermostat should open up and take the rest of the coolant that is in here. Then you want to go ahead and put the radiator cap back on, take it for a road test, and come on back. Let it cool down. Do not remove the radiator cap while the engine is hot. You want to let it cool down for about an hour or so. Then you can go ahead and release this pressure here. Inspect the coolant level inside the radiator as well as the coolant level in your expansion tank on the side. Make sure the tank is at full. Make sure the radiator is full. Go ahead and reinstall your radiator cap and you should be all set. Let's go ahead and install your wheel. Making a mess, and going to install your lug nuts. Get them all started by hand. Once these are all on, I'm going to go ahead and snug them down. Let's get and torque our lug nuts down to 80 foot-pounds. And you're all set.